welcome to Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning, United States of America. Good morning. Did I miss Texas? Good morning, United States of America. And good morning to the world. How's everybody doing this morning? We are going to have a great show today, but most of all, most importantly, to everybody listening, and call up everybody else and tell them, hey, those guys are out of Fund Drive now. They are back to regular programming, which we could not be happier. But remember what Politics Done Right promised you. And as much as we were doing Fund Drive, we made sure and blended it in with real programming, and we had great discussion, great calls, etc., etc., etc. Now we are in full call mode. 713-526-5738, extension number 2 to come in and talk to us. Of course, you can still hit extension number 1 and continue contributing, as we will always need it, but we are no longer in Fund Drive, so we can do full programming now. Before I tell you a little bit about how we did, I want to bring in our geniuses in the studio. This is a hell of a team. That's all I can tell you. This is a hell of a team. So to the genius in the control room, ¿Cómo están mis amigos? Buenos días.
Well, buenos dias to you. Jack is doing just fine, the genius there. And I want to thank everyone who donated to Politics Done Right, for one, and everything else. We had one heck of a long drive, I know, and we hated it. Folks, we hate doing this. I can't stand it, and I know you can't either. But come on back. We're good. We made her. We came very, very close to our goal. We don't have all the final numbers in just yet, but we will. And we thank you, and you're a big part of it. We couldn't exist without you. So pat yourselves on the back for supporting KPFT. And something else interesting, you know, the big debate over school vouchers and all this stuff. On Arnie Arneson this morning, Scott Braddock was on, and he said, for all intents and purposes, school vouchers are dead. The legislature is not going to pass them. So the governor is just going to be out of luck. So they say.
Out of luck. All right.
Yeah, out of luck and out of gas, man. He has done fled the country for Israel because the heat's been too hot on him.
Well.
Anyway, that is I didn't know that Braddock. I didn't listen to Arnie Arneson, so that is great news. Believe it or not, great news. But Jack, ¿qué pasó, hermano?
Hey, good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, I wrote something on balance. You know, we have a very unbalanced Supreme Court. We have a rogue, corporately co-opted Supreme Court stacked with conservatives. 6-2 with the right-leaning Chief Justice Roberts that makes the count 7-2. This ensures that the Supreme Court works for big business, not the people.
Those rats.
Those Grinches. We have to balance this court, or the people just are not going to get any traction in what they want
or justice.
Or justice.
Does the Supreme Court realize that there is a constitution to uphold?
I don't know anymore.
Well, I don't think they're upholding it very well.
They tend to use it against the people.
Well, they use it as toilet paper, basically.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, man. That's my comments for the morning.
Well, look, guys, that is, Jack, so true, so true. We have to do something about it. But if the polls are to be believed right now, what I would call the people on the good side, meaning the side of democracy, and this is not coming from, let's say, a progressive or a Democrat. This is coming from Republicans that have left their party, begging America to open their eyes to see that we are in a dangerous path right now. But the polls doesn't look very well at this point in time for the good side. Well, when it comes to the president, tomorrow there are quite a few important elections in Kentucky where we'll see if a MAGA governor is from the Republican side is elected, or Bashir, a very moderate Democrat, gets reelected. We also have the entire, they don't call it legislature in Virginia. They call it, I think, the House of Delegates. We're going to see if they are able to flip that House of Delegates and keep the Senate in Virginia. There are some other important propositions in Ohio with regards to abortion, etc. I think more than anything else, what that's going to tell us is if the country has soured on simply Biden or soured on just our freedoms, our progressive values, and all that kind of a stuff, and decide we just want a tyrant that's going to tell us what to do, where to do it, when to do it, etc. There's going to be a lot that occurs as a prognosticator on Tuesday. So our Wednesday show should be quite interesting with regards to where the country goes. Tomorrow's show, I have some things up for tomorrow that I'm not sure if I'm going to do yet. I spoke to Richard Wolff, doctor, professor, economist, Richard Wolff, for, anytime I call him, if I say, can we do a 25-minute interview? And he says, of course, Egberto, we can do you know how he talks. We can do a 25-minute interview. And it always turns out to be over an hour. And I got this one chopped down to like 56 minutes. So whenever I play him, it's an important interview that I had with Dr. Richard Wolff, it's going to be the entire show for that thing. I got it cut down, I think, I want to say I got it cut to 56 minutes, but I'm not sure. Got to check that out. But today we have a very important show, and luckily we have the entire hour without pitching to talk about it. The title of the show is, and while we are in Medicare sign-up mode, I'm going to try every day to have something new to tell you guys about Medicare Advantage. Not only that it's a fraud, that it's a scam, but also to, more than anything else, try to point out, folks, if you can, definitely don't go to Medicare Advantage, irrespective of what the advisors are telling you. Because remember, the advisors make the most money when they sell you Medicare Advantage, because the profits in Medicare Advantage for the salesperson, for the executives, for all these people is huge, as they try to deny you coverage. And for all my good friends, I love you guys some of you have actually called me upset. Some of you have written me upset. Egberto, I love my Medicare Advantage. Brothers and sisters, you know who I am. You know that I love you. And you know that, look, please, it's okay to disagree with me, but I don't see too many of my friends that are on, in fact, Medicare Advantage and call to really tell me how badly I am wrong about Medicare Advantage and how much they love it. All I have to say is, why do you think a corporation whose sole goal is to make profits is going to somehow care more about you than your friend, me, Brother Jack, Brother Howard, that are here just trying to, can we be wrong? Yes. We could be wrong about many things. Can we be wrong about Medicare Advantage? Absolutely not. Because numbers are absolute. Numbers are absolute. And for my brothers and sisters, my friends who are on Medicare Advantage right now, some of you, I understand, because of the way the plutocracy, these guys have worked over Congress, they have magically made it seem like it's cheaper in the aggregate for you on the monthlies, etc. But either with your life or with your quality of life in the long run, in order to ensure those private companies profit, you will pay either with your pocketbook or with your health care, and likely both. So I get it. For those of you who love your Medicare Advantage, as I tell you how bad it is, etc., please don't take it as if I am trying to mislead you. Just understand the numbers that we talk about. All right, so the title of the show is Medicare Advantage Using AI to Screw Patients. Scalise implodes on this week. Steve Scalise, representative that is, and Biden polls. I want to see if we can get to Biden polls sometime today. We'll see. We'll see. Medicare Advantage profiteering gets worse with AI, and Representative Steve Scalise embarrasses himself as he is unable to admit Trump lost and more, and Biden polls tank further. Why is that? We're going to talk about all those things. Maybe we'll talk about it. But if we don't get to it, you can always reach it, the entire narrative, videos, etc., at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And we have all the topics that we're discussing in each program right there. So again, if we don't get to it all. Anyway, the first topic I want to go to is the Medicare Advantage. And please feel free, anybody to call. Agree with me, disagree with me. We have civil conversations here. We don't get at each other's throats. So I make you say your piece. I respond, etc. It's not about trying to be right or trying to win. It's about what's best for us all and what is truth. We want to make sure that that's what gets to people. All right. My brother Brett Wilkins wrote at Common Dreams, this should be a national scandal. For-profit Medicare Advantage plans using AI for denials. They are using AI to predict when to cut off payments for treatment, said one watchdog groups. We repeat, AI, not a doctor, AI. As Medicare Advantage plans rely increasingly upon artificial intelligence to determine and often deny payment for patient care, a group of Democratic U.S. lawmakers on Friday urged Medicare's top official to strengthen oversight of AI and algorithmic tools used to make coverage determinations. Look, what you can do with AI is follow rules, and you can make the rules look at a lot of data that a human being can't look at, and you can also not only look at rules at data to see how things go, but you can look at statistics. Let's say this demographic, we deny coverage in this demographic. How likely are they to complain? And if they complain, how likely are they to stick with the program? If they complain, how likely is it for them to win? Again, when you're using AI and you have a full database of all your past experiences, etc., you can use AI for good or for bad. You can say people get tired of complaining, so they stop. Therefore, for this particular demographic, we can hit them hard and tell them denial, denial, denial. They won't sue you. They won't do these things. But if you mess that way with this group, they'll do that. AI and the databases that govern AI has infinite data that they can look at to maximize the profit for corporations in such a manner that they know how you will behave based on how others in your sector, in your vicinity have behaved. So that is the kind of technology being used right now. And don't think they won't perfect it. Don't think they won't say, if you have this kind of an illness and we deny, you're less likely to complain. If you have that kind of an illness and you complain, we can deny you there. Even though we shouldn't, we can. But because less of you are going to complain, we will still be more profitable. That is the power that AI gives. AI can be done for good, or AI can be done for evil. Or rather, I should say, AI can be used for good, or AI can be used for evil. Think about it. They could also have used AI to say, wow, since this demographic, they're having all these problems in this particular area and this kind of an illness, maybe we should have some sort of a teaching program, learning program to catch some of these people in this particular demographics before certain things happen. You could use AI for that, right? But again, there's no profit in that. You could say, well, we will reduce the illnesses and all of that. Yeah, but why do all of that if we can just deny services and not create a new program to make things work better? That is there's the evil of AI and there's the good of AI. I believe the good in AI, and I believe in mandating the good in AI, right? Because after all, AI was created by us all. Don't ever think, so, all of us create AI and a few profit from AI. We got to stop that paradigm. And, we kind of talk a little bit about that indirectly with Dr. Richard Wolff when we deal it. But again, so I want you to understand this. We're going to continue with the article here. But AI, artificial intelligence, you are a part of artificial intelligence. You also created artificial intelligence because all the things that you do in your life that appears in some electronic database, what you buy, what you purchase, everything that you do, how you scan the internet, when you look up lawyers, when you look up all of that forms a big part of data, the database that AI queries to figure out how things work. All this demographic data, analytical data, knowledge data, all of that is in one database, and all of us have a part in producing that which AI uses to come up with its conclusion. But the corporations who use AI to do things like deny you coverage, like we're talking here, AI in negative manners that affect you, in effect, you're saying we created the tools that screw us to enrich a few. And that is what we have to mitigate. That is what electing the right people will solve. And here we go. It says, in recent years, problems posed by prior authorizations have been exacerbated by management advantage plans, increasing use of AI or algorithmic software to assist in their coverage determinations in certain care settings, including inpatient hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, and home health. 32 House Democrats led by Representative Judy Chu, Democrat of California, wrote a letter to Centers for the Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrators, Chiquita Books, LaSure. Advocates and the media report that the use of such software has led to coverage decisions that are more restrictive than allowed under traditional Medicare rules, as well as more frequent and repeated denials of care, the lawmaker wrote. Absent prohibiting the use of AI algorithmic tools outright, it is unclear how CMS is monitoring and evaluating management advantage plans' use of such tools in order to ensure that plans comply with Medicare's rules and do not inappropriately create barriers to care. And we all know that's what it does. The lawmakers are calling on CMS to take steps including but not limited to 1, requiring management advantage plans to report prior authorization data, including reason for denial by type of service, beneficiary characteristics such as health conditions, and timeliness of prior authorization decisions. 2, comparing guidance generated by AI and algorithmic tools with actual MA coverage decisions. 3, assessing how and to what extent initial prior authorization AI determines for services are adjusted to account for unanticipated changes in patient's condition. 4, requiring attestation from management advantage plans and contractors that their coverage guidelines are not more restrictive than traditional Medicare. And 5, determining whether management advantage plans are inappropriately using race, other factors in these algorithms. Management advantage plans are not part of Medicare. They are a private, this is what the authors write in here. They are a private health insurance scam created by a GOP-controlled Congress and signed into law 20 years ago by then President George W. Bush as a way of routing hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars into the pockets of for-profits insurance companies, according to frequent Common Dreams opinion contributor Tom Hartman. A report published last month by Physicians for a National Health Program revealed that management advantage plans are overcharging U.S. taxpayers by up to $140 billion per year, enough to completely eliminate Medicare Part B premiums or fully fund Medicare's prescription drug program. So you see the money, like we talk about all the time, folks, the money is there. Right now, the only difference is that we are giving $140 billion to corporations that are doing what again? Simply being a middleman to pay a bill. Why not just have a government agency, maybe an independent government agency, that pays the bill. Acts like one huge insurance company, doesn't have all the overhead. It's called single payer healthcare. Why not do it? So much cheaper. And it's a proven system used all over the world, all over the developed world. It's a system that works much better than ours. And whenever anybody talks to you about it'll stifle innovation, let them know that they are lying. The innovators aren't the one making the monies. It's the stockbrokers, the stockholders, and all these guys that are making the money. The innovators the innovators are not making the fat cash. And when they say, well, the stockbrokers and those people who risk their money, they are the ones who invest in the things that the innovators build. Not true either. Most of the innovation comes from government-sponsored grants, the National Institute of Health, and many of these other organizations. So all the reasons that these guys try to give you, why using a third party like Medicare Advantage to skim profits off to somehow handle our healthcare is nothing more than a farce, a lie, and nothing. And I'm not even catering it with it's an untrue. Nope, it's simply a lie. They don't create anything. They are nothing more than parasites. Parasites. What are parasites? Things that live on others and provide absolutely nothing of value. I would love somebody to tell me what value any private insurance companies provide in the delivery of healthcare, in the delivery of making you healthier. I would love somebody to tell me what they think is the purpose of a health insurance company that has any value whatsoever. First of all, I don't even think it has value for people under 65, which is regular insurance companies. It shouldn't be there. It is something that was designed to take your money. And of course, every business is designed to take your money, but that's why we should have a bifurcated economy where it says businesses like pizza shops, groceries, all these other things, hey, you can have choices. But when it comes to healthcare, you don't have any choices at all. You break your leg, you got to go to the nearest hospital to fix yourself. You need an ambulance to fix yourself. All these things you got to do. That doesn't belong in the for-profit sector. Welcome aboard. Melanie Keelan is in the house from Barcelona, Spain. How you doing, our beautiful Melanie Keelan? And we missed you on Ask Egberto Anything on Saturday. We had a good one discussing. Of course, we discussed Israel. Kind of took over the conversation, and it went in a very positive direction. Ask Egberto Anything on Saturday was great. We missed you, Melanie Keelan. Anyhow, let's see what else we got here. The use of AI and Medicare. I read that part already. So let's continue. Last year, a U.S. Senate probe found that insurance companies and other brokers are running amok with fraudsters and scam artists making false and misleading claims to dupe seniors, citizens into purchasing Medicare Advantage plan. They sell you, many of those salespeople sell you Medicare Advantage as if it is Medicare. Medicare Advantage is not Medicare. It is private insurance for older people that paid for by the taxpayer at a higher rate than standard Medicare, at a higher rate than you paying your own regular private health insurance. It's a fraud. It's a fraud that Republican politicians allowed, and it's a fraud that every politician thereafter have allowed to continue. If we really want changes, you have got to elect progressive politicians across the board who are willing to chop the knees under these insurance companies that have been ripping us off for over 20 years. Think about how many dead people there are because of Medicare Advantage and also regular private insurance. Think about how many dead people there are. People will say, well, there are a lot of people that the insurance company paid to solve. That was their job. That was their job. When I tell you how sour we all should be on our politicians for allowing the existence of Medicare Advantage, I mean that. If you want to make a vote, you should always vote for those who have your interests at hand, not the one who make believe that somehow they're doing what's right for you. I'm going to finish up with Medicare Advantage, then I'm going to go to Brother Harry. And folks, start calling in now, please. Please don't wait till the end of the show. We have the full show now. So call 713-526-5738. I want to hear your voices, please. Go ahead, 713-526-5738. All you have to do now is extension number 2 and come on in. Let's talk. Let's hear your voice. Anyhow, finishing up. Progressive lawmakers have also criticized President Joe Biden for delaying promised curbs on Medicare Advantage plans amid heavy insurance industry lobbying. Earlier this year, Representative Mark Pocan of Wisconsin, Democrat of Wisconsin, one of the 32 lawmakers who signed the letter to Brooks LaSure, Ro Khanna, Democrat of California, and Jan Schakowsky reintroduced a bill to change the official name of Medicare Advantage to Alternative Private Health Plan to make clear that such coverage is covered by for-profit companies. That is a good start. That is a good start. Alternative Private Health Care Plan, not Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage is deceptive marketing. Deceptive marketing sanctioned by our government, executed by the private sector, the private insurance companies. Alistair Waters is in the house from Conroe, Texas. Good morning, beautiful Alistair. The scheme is called Medicare Advantage, Pocan and Khanna explained, but in reality, so-called Medicare Advantage is neither Medicare nor an advantage. In fact, it should rightfully be called Medicare Disadvantage because it disadvantages you. All right, we're done with the Medicare Advantage topic unless you call and resuscitate it. 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738. Would love to hear your voice. Come on in, Brother Harry. Come on in right now.
Buenos dias, Brother Alberto, hermano, and buenos
Good
dias
morning,
to,
Harry. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great. And buenos dias to Howard, and buenos dias to Jack Van Dever. As Jack Van Dever, when he took my call, said, I said that it's Medicare Disadvantage. Jack Van Dever says, it's Medicare Take Advantage. And Alberto, you and Tom Hartman are joined at the hip. I thought I was hearing Tom Hartman's voice as much as I've listened to his program when you say, folks, Medicare Advantage is not Medicare. They're trying to get, if you are on Medicare, they're trying to destroy Medicare. And I said this to you a few weeks ago. It's like that old Flintstone cartoon. That private insurance, Medicare Advantage that George Bush signed into law, they want to destroy Medicare. They want to destroy Medicaid so that Medicare Advantage is the only choice that you have. And if you can't afford to pay, as my brother would say, who's in the other room right now, you can't afford to stay alive. Just go somewhere and die. And so, you know, that's what it is. So that's why you listen to Alberto Willies. That is why you listen to Tom Hartman. That is why you listen to Arnie Arneson and people like that, because they care about most people. They don't want to see you hurt. They don't want to see you not get your procedures and your health care when these people are trying to destroy Medicare. B and C, all these talking points that you read in that document that you just read,
right?
You are bringing the truth to all the people because you care about people, just as Tom Hartman, Arnie Arneson, and all the liberal people in this country care about. I was going to say, now, as far as Jack Van Dever and Howard Reynolds was saying earlier, if Joe Biden gets another term, folks, we have an election coming up. Joe Biden is going to have to expand that court so that the Supreme Court cannot cause more damage. You've got to get more progressives, as you're always saying, on that court, and you got to get more progressives in the Senate and in the House. And as Howard Reynolds was saying about Arnie Arneson with Scott Braddock, I was listening as well. The school vouching thing is dead. Those legislators don't want it. That's a good thing because all Greg Abbott is concerned with is destroying the public school system, and that voucher thing is just a scam, just like Medicare Advantage. It's just going to help those who already have money and can the people who go to private schools and charter schools, which they can choose. They can pick, and what they don't tell you is they can pick and choose who they want to come to those schools, and those people who have the money, that's just more money for them to give them a break so that they can take advantage of that. But that's dead, and I'm glad that that's dead. And I've got so many thoughts going through my head. It's just a good thing that they have killed that. And now I remember. Arnie Arnson mentioned something else with her guests on. I think she in the second half of it, they were talking about. Or no, it was with Scott Braddock. They were talking about the people are complaining in this state about the property taxes, and right. Scott Braddock was saying that Greg Abbott has not done anything as far as that because he wants that voucher thing. I don't know if he's gonna. Maybe he will. He'll probably call more special sessions. He's been trying to ram that through, and then he said he would do something about getting property taxes down. Scott Braddock just eloquently pointed out he doesn't care about property taxes and getting it down. He's just trying to get his voucher thing passed by the legislature, and then he does nothing for the people on property tax. He just stiffs them. Basically, that is so true. That is so true. And for the people on YouTube and all our streaming, for some of you are not receiving the calls in right now, or rather the call in. I'm trying to fix that as we speak. But anyway, anything else you want to add, my friend? Oh, okay. I want to thank Howard for playing Sunland. My late father loved that song by Mark Antoine. Thank you, Howard, for playing that. And I'll be calling Howard a little later this week about more requests. And thank Howard for playing Down to the Bone and Jeff Coxwell on Friday for me. I heard both of those songs. You guys are the best. And I wanted to also say on Friday's show, the Mayor of Politics Done Right, Johnny, is absolutely correct. When you were talking about they're trying to destroy our democracy, they want to destroy people like Huberto Willis, like that hater who sent that email. They don't want people like Tom Hartman, Randy Rhodes. That's why when that fairness doctrine passed, they want right-wing hate radio, and they want to drown out your voice. And we have to rebuild our democracy so that everybody has a voice. And I also like what you said, Huberto, the other last week. Even though a lot of people will disagree with caller Bard, but these conservative people, Bard and Brian, they do have a voice. And even though we disagree with a lot of their points, they should be allowed to speak. But the conservatives should also allow the liberals to speak too. Right. Because we're supposed to be the United States of America. We're supposed to be united. Everybody's supposed to have a voice. We're not supposed to just be dominated by one by the conservative talking point, and then the liberals don't have a voice. So thank you very much. Well. Thank you very much, brother Harry, for your wise words as usual. And let's go ahead and bring in Kathy right now. Kathy, come on into the program.
Hello?
Kathy. Yes, you're on, Kathy.
Yes. I just have a question maybe you can answer on the Medicare. If you go with the Medicare Advantage, do you know whether you can go back to regular Medicare? I'm reaching
Yes, you can. Yes, let me give you some.
I've been told that you could not go back.
No, not true. Not true. Of course, they'd like to tell you this. Let's talk the options here. If you are on Medicare Advantage, in 6 months, you can jump back. Within 6 months, you can jump back to standard Medicare with no penalties, meaning you don't have to go back through the actuarial tables for your Medicare. Let me back. Let me say it this way. Okay. Absolutely every American citizen has the right to Medicare, period, standard Medicare, no matter when you decide to join in. Here is the caveat. Medicare is an 80-20 plan. All right. I repeat, it's an 80-20 plan, meaning they cover 80%. You as the patient cover 20%. That's generally okay. And there are ways around that 20%. You can buy now a private insurance to pay for the 20%. That private insurance that pays that 20% is called Medigap. And that's the problem. The problem is going back to Medicare, standard Medicare, you may not be able to afford the Medigap, because if you take Medicare Advantage, or rather, if you take standard Medicare as soon as you turn 65 or whenever you're going to start Medicare, there are laws that govern, if you take it right away, how much you're going to pay from your Medigap program.
You don't have to go through actuarial tables and all of that, meaning your age or whether you're sick or anything like that. You just qualify for the private companies have just got to take you. Now, if you jumped into Medicare Advantage first and then go back to standard Medicare, they can actually now, the Medigap insurance company, same Medigap private insurance company can say, well, I'm going to have to charge you higher because you're sicker. So they'll charge you higher for that 20%. But here's what a lot of people don't tell you. I would tell people, look, a lot of doctors, a lot of folks, the way they'll work with you is they're like, I get it. I get you can't afford Medigap, all that kind of stuff. So we'll just make the bill be the 80%. And a lot of them, the hospitals can afford that. The doctors can afford that, right? They can afford to be generous to the people who can't afford to get the Medigap, right? So what I'm telling people is if you're still healthy, it's easy transition back to Medicare, to standard Medicare. Easy transition back because the Medigap program will be affordable. If you're sick, it's a bit more problematic. It always seems in our country that when you're sick, things are more difficult. But that's the answer. Did I make that clear or... Did I make that clear at all?
Yes, you can. See, I was told that if you made the decision to go there, you cannot go back. But that's not true.
No, you can go back. You can go back, ma'am. You absolutely can go back. Now, let me just say this, okay? Remember, anytime you are going to one of these private navigators that are trying to tell you what's best for your solution, right? They have an incentive to sell you a Medicare Advantage plan because that is where they make big bucks. And this person's selling it to you. That's where they make big bucks. Please don't ever forget that. If something is for profit, then what? Look, even if I'm selling something, I have to try to talk to the best of my angels to do the right thing where profit is involved. And that's why we should take it out of that domain completely, in my humble opinion. Anything else you'd like to ask, Kathy?
No, but I do like the idea of changing the name of it. That makes great sense because it is deceptive.
Yes.
I forever thought it was part of it. I thought it was part of it, but I found out it was a private insurance, so I love that idea. So thank you very much.
Thank you so kindly, Kathy. And yes, folks, it is private insurance. And it's disguised. They use the Medicare Advantage name to fool you. They fooled you twice. First, by calling it Medicare. And secondly, by saying it's Advantage, like there's some advantage to it. There's none. Come on in, Bard. My brother, Bard. Come on in. How are you doing this morning, Bard?
The election.
Okay, start over, Bard. I kind of brought you in late. Start over. Talk to me.
Okay. Good morning. I wanted to go back to the election because we got an important election tomorrow for the city of Houston.
Tomorrow, yes, sir.
I want to ask your listeners to please vote for Tony Busby for city council. This guy almost single-handedly saved the state of Texas from the Bush crime family. I don't know if your listeners know this, but the plan was to impeach Paxton to insert George P. Bush, who is Jeb's son. They wanted him to be the attorney general, step to the governor, and then to the president. Thanks to Tony Busby, he stopped this plan. These Bushes are dirty, and they also had Biden's FBI helping. George P. Bush activated his law license the day before this impeachment, this fake impeachment scam. So I just want people to look out for the city of Houston. Those that can vote for Tony Busby, please do so. Election day.
All right,
tomorrow.
Bart. Credibility is important. Notice I don't know, I let folks say what they want to say on my program because this show belongs to all of us. All right, so you can have your belief in Tony Busby and who Tony. Sir, did I interrupt you? Why do you do that, sir? I'm so respectful in making sure you say your piece.
I just want to ask
say mine.
Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me that the Bush family is a crime family?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't look. I'm not a Republican, and I'm not a Bush liker. In fact, I think the Bush Senior invaded my country on false pretenses, and the Bush Junior was a complete buffoon. I believe that. But as far as them being a crime family, no. In fact, I'm speaking, sir. In fact, Bush Senior is yes, he's a CIA guy, but when it comes to cultural issues, etc., he was a very decent man, and his wife was very, very decent. I can tell you stories about what she has done in the civil rights movements, etc., etc., etc. So no, I'm sorry. The Bush guys, this crime family for Bush and crime family for Biden is hogwash. The truth of the matter is, these are two good people that I have very strong differences with, both Bush and Biden, but they're good people. They have their own things that they believe in, and they're good people. Now, Paxton, the person that you're defending, sir, is a bona fide crook. We know that their paper trail is there. Now, there is a faction in this country trying to rehabilitate a Paxton, the same people that are trying to rehabilitate a Donald Trump. Look, I give you your time to say your piece, Bard, so that I can refute it in real time, so that people can hear both sides of the story, and then they can educatedly make up their mind and go research on their own. Folks that are listening, Bart had made a statement. I also made a statement, and all of these things that I say, you can go verified by truthful sources. Bart, please finish so that we can go to Johnny.
Well, there's a lot you don't know about the Bush family then. We got a lot of research to do on that. But
all right, brother. Thank you so kindly for calling. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, just one last word to Shay. I want to tell her that I like my coffee hot and black.
Is there a kind of... Hey, wait. Hey, wait a minute, Bart. Are you trying to say something there, Bart?
If she would dip her finger in it, it would probably be sweet.
I knew you were going to be, Bart. When we go to coffee, we're going to have a hell of a lot to talk about, brother. Take care, man. Bye.
All right,
let's go to Johnny. Come on in, Johnny.
Never, ever.
Wait, hold on. Before Johnny, hold on. Shay, you've got to admire her, Shay. That's all I'm going to say. So if you're calling, you may want to call and answer Brother Bart. Come on in, Johnny.
Shay, watch out, Shay. And this is what I mean, not just Republicans and not just Breitbart in general. But you guys remember the movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang from 1968?
Yes. I don't remember the context, but I remember it was funny then.
With Dick Van Dyke and Julia Prowse. Anyway, there's a scene in that movie when the child catcher with his wagon disguised as some kind of a carnival piece who's teasing these two kids, trying to attract them into his wagon with candy and sweets and stuff, because in the fantasy land of Bulgaria, children are not allowed. So these two children who are kids of Dick Van Dyke, the crackpot inventor, they're there to rescue their grandpa, who was kidnapped by the Baron of Bulgaria. Anyway, the trick that they get these two kids to go for the candy reminds me of the weak-minded people, seniors in this country, who are being enticed by TV ads every single day on the airwaves, the over-the-airwaves analog terrestrial TV. That's where they spend all their advertising dollar, I notice. And the most recent one, yesterday, I saw an ad of a guy in his 60s or 70s. He's a beer-bellied, white guy with a white beard and glasses, and he sounds like he's a victim, and he's crying and stuff. And I got so angry. I looked at an 800 number, and I got on the phone, and I called right away. And I can't repeat to you everything I told the salesperson because this is family-friendly radio. But I would remind everybody that Medicare Advantage is the child catcher. Medicare Advantage is the child catcher. They got a wagon full of treats they can get you on board with, and once they catch you in their wagon, you're a prisoner, and they cart you away off to Bulgaria land, where they make you a slave. That's what Medicare Advantage is. It's a disadvantage.
It's so funny how even the way they passed the law, right? In other words, making it so difficult to switch back. I mean, if these Medicare Advantage plans were so good, right? Were so good for people, you wouldn't have that poison pill switching back, right? Where Medicare Medigap now has the ability to even sucker you some more. So, I mean, I'm glad you said that, John. Give me a closer so I can get to Brian.
The fact that Medicare purposefully does good by some people, that's purposeful, that's calculated. At the end,
right.
One day when you need them the most, they won't be there for you, and you will be in that child catcher's wagon.
Exactly. Thank you very much for that, Johnny. You have a great rest of your day. Mayor of Politics Done Right. All right, let's go to El Senor Brian. Come on in, Brian. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Yeah. We spoke briefly the other day about man-made global warming is a myth.
Yes. And, I didn't put that up. I forgot to put the stuff up on the website for you. I'm going to have to do it after the show. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, here's some basic facts. I consider myself an earth scientist, and I consider myself a practical engineer. Now, if any of your listeners want to look up Otzi the Iceman, he was murdered 5,000 years ago. The snow fell on him.
Okay.
It melted. The snow fell on him. He flattened out. 5,000 years later, they found him. You know what that tells me?
What?
The climate 5,000 years ago is the exact same temperature as is today. They're finding Viking weapons in melted snow from 5,000 years ago. Okay? Now, here's another fact. Look up from NASA that the ice cap is melting on Mars at the same rate as it is here on Earth. Okay?
Let's remember some. There's one thing that you have to remember is that first of all, I'm not going to arbitrarily cherry pick information. I'm going to go to the. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's not cherry picking. Okay. Do you know that there was no armadillos in Texas before 1830? They're migrating north as far as Missouri. Yeah,
don't know that.
Migrating as far north as far as Missouri now.
Okay.
You know the caracara? It's a Mexican eagle. When did it come from? Mexico, and now it's made as far as north as Tomball, Texas.
Okay.
These are facts. Don't send us.
No, but what does that tell? What conclusions are you drawing from those facts?
Those are, thank you for just saying facts. Those are facts. Don't send us to some website that says .org, save the penguins. Okay? And as far as being an engineer, have you heard of the Hibernia Project? The gas
no, I haven't.
oil well? Okay.
I have not.
Who worked on that? Guess who worked on that? I did.
I don't know. I said I haven't. Okay. Now, here's the thing.
Who was the first person that sprayed bed liner in the United States? Me. You're talking to the very first person that sprayed bed liner in trucks in the United States. It came from Australia. So I have some credentials. Okay.
Okay. Brian.
Your website. Yes, go ahead.
Brian.
Yes.
You said that you have credentials, but based on what you're saying, again, I don't know. Credibility is something that is earned. It isn't something that you put and you throw out all these disparate things, right? There is a body of science, and the body of science work in a particular manner of repeatability, etc. That's what science is all about. Science isn't about my gut feeling tells me this or my gut feeling tells me that. And science is not always about. Science is about the things that we investigate and see based on XYZ is occurring. Can we get the degrees of freedom in correcting science? Yes, we can, because we are human and we're fallible. That can happen. All right. I'm not saying it cannot happen, but the preponderance of the evidence. Look, first of all, climate changes all the time. Climate has been changing before we were burning fossil fuels. That's a fact. Okay. That's understandable. We've had ice ages. We've had 5 great extinctions. We've had all these things occur because of climate change, meteors, all that kind of stuff. We can also have a meteor that just happens to land on Earth and changes the entire atmosphere, changes our climate. We can have some crazy volcanic eruptions that come out and make these changes. Natural events can come and change the climate. I think it's a better argument, a more honest argument, if folks won't deny man-made climate change, but simply say, so what's wrong with man-made climate change if you can have natural climate change that has always happened? And not only that, but catastrophic climate change. I have an answer for that, but what I'm saying, it's a better argument than to just try to say that what the people who want green energy and these other things are doing is somehow deceptive. It's not. Within the period of lifespan, let's say the next million years or so, where we don't foresee, or even let's put it at a closer level, 250,000 years, where we don't foresee a meteor hitting us, or we don't see the constructs there for volcanic eruptions that are huge climate monsters. What people are doing to keep the Earth fairly stable in this particular framework, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people say we can mitigate that. Some people prefer that we don't get there. But the angst that you show, the animosity that you show, the anger that you show, because we have a sect in this country who believe we should mitigate climate. And we shouldn't even be only selling it as climate change. We should also be selling it as pollution, right? Because dioxin, just basic care, we should be selling, but we don't. So we get into this argument where you and I, Brian, are going to be, well, I'm not fighting you at all. I'm just telling you the way things are, but that you actually display a certain level of anger because there are those of us who really want to do something about burning fossil fuels that have been sequestered by our own living beings for millennia, or actually I should say for millions of years.
You want to talk about anger? Look up Gamesa and Gamenza and Wind Clean and the wind towers. They're $3 million each to put up. Gamesa and Gamenza. They're 30 tons of steel is in the tower. Mm-hmm. There's 2 tons of copper wire in the generator. They produce about 2.4 megawatts of power. There is 600 plus more in McCamey, Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. You know the voltage drop from McCamey to Houston? You know, you power one house. Okay. There's the anger.
That is actually not true, because voltage drop is very. I'm an engineer now. Okay, so let's talk about voltage drop. Okay, so wait. So what you just said is hogwash, really. Honestly, Brian, what you just said was simply hogwash. First of all, the way you do transmission of voltage over long distances, and yes, you do get a drop, is you put the voltage up very, very high so that you minimize those losses, and that you believe that you can actually believe a piece of paper that tells you that one windmill, by the time you get the voltage drop across in the transmission, it only powers one house. End of discussion. I mean, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. That is such a nut statement, my dear brother.
You mean the voltage drop from McCamey,
shouldn't believe it.
486 miles away. How
sir,
you power one house?
Sir, that made no sense. Thank you so kindly for calling, Brian. I got to go to Augie. I can't believe you actually said that on air, and then at the same time you say you're a scientist. Come on, man. Let's go to Augie. Augie, come on in.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, there's a difference between weather and climate change. Republican politicians deny climate change by saying, look, I got a snowball here. There's no climate change. That's weather. We're always going to have snow, ice, drought, floods, hurricanes. But climate change means they're going to start earlier, they're going to be stronger, and they're going to last longer. And that's what climate change is. But there always will be weather like that snowman that got killed. And but yeah, there's a difference between weather and climate change.
That's absolutely true. And the other thing that I was trying to get across to Brand, which is an important point, right? We could start saving all this energy and doing all this green energy and all this great stuff, and then we could get a super eruption from Yellowstone, right? That's a possibility, but it's unlikely, right? But it's a possibility. But we have control over overturning the carbon that was removed out of our air over millions of years via trees and animals, etc. Or and then hope for the best, or we can just go ahead and assume the worst and just destroy our environment. There are arguments there are such legitimate arguments to make to say we want to continue burning fossil fuels till kingdom come, and we will mitigate the hurricanes, etc. What I mean by that is the following: if you had a society that says, okay, we burn energy, the problems that are caused from burning energy, we'll also invest in making sure people don't live on coastlines, houses are built like armor. There's mitigation factors for anything. We think the right thing to do is just leave the energy, the carbon sequestered in the earth in the form of coal, oil, gas, whatever. Leave it sequestered, right? You don't have to then build all this infrastructure to mitigate the damage putting them back in the air will create the world of a million years ago. There are options, but what I find, Augie, is the argument by the deniers are so disingenuous, and it comes with an anger that, again, it's uncalled for. Go ahead, Augie.
Yeah, and during the freeze a couple of years ago, the failure we had was with oil and natural gas. The people that lived east of I-35 depended on the gas and oil to go supply our energy, but they failed. What saved West Texas was solar and wind. They more than doubled their output.
You're right. I just got a text. I only got 1 minute left, so I got to go. Okay. Thank you for calling, Augie, and thank you for your great support to the station as usual. Folks, I got to get out of here. So before I get out, I want to pass it to Howard and Jack.
Ooh, okay. I have nothing but Jack, what you got?
Well, Medicare Advantage or Medicare Take Advantage of you is where you hire a insurance company to administer your Medicare to you. That doesn't sound right.
It's definitely not right, Jack. Anyway, folks, I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. Thank you all for being here. You know how I end this baby. I am out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.